Hello my friends, let me show you this delicious cake that I made with caramel and almonds and chocolate of course, and I will show you step by step how I made it. I will start with the sponge cake, for which I'm gonna need 85 grams of flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 125 grams of butter, soft butter, 60 grams of chocolate, cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons, 2 eggs, 100 grams of sugar, and 100 grams of yogurt. So these are the ingredients. I will put butter, chocolate and cocoa powder in a tiny pot, and on the stove I'm gonna melt these on low temperature, stirring and combining them until it's gonna look like a delicious velvety chocolatey sauce, exactly like you see here. And I'm gonna let this to cool down. I'm gonna mix flour with baking powder and baking soda. So these are dry ingredients. And in the mixing bowl, I'm gonna put those 2 eggs that I showed you. How amazing! With just 2 eggs, we're gonna make an amazing sponge cake. Nice and moist and delicious, and I'm saying moist because it has yogurt in and lots of butter. So let's start mixing these eggs with sugar until the eggs are starting to change the color into a nice pale yellow, and they're gonna incorporate lots of air. The sugar will start to dissolve. So now it's time to add yogurt and that chocolatey sauce that we made, and now it's cooled down, it's not hot anymore. You see how this is. And now add dry ingredients: flour, baking powder and baking soda. I'm going once again with a spatula just to make sure that everything is well incorporated. This is the batter for the cake, and I'm gonna pour these in a round shaped mold. You can make this cake in a rectangular tray or a square. I chose to make it round, and I'm gonna bake it at 180 Celsius for about 15 minutes. After baking, let it cool down and slice it in half horizontally. So you're gonna have 2 slices of cake, and we're gonna fill them up. This is how it's looking. So let's go now and make caramelized almonds. And for this I need 200 grams of almonds, and I have here blanched and laminated ones. It's what I had in the cupboard, so I went ahead and used them. 3 tablespoons of sugar, 70 grams of butter and 3 tablespoons of milk. So in a pot I'm gonna put the sugar and caramelize it on the stove, and when it's nice and golden brown like you saw it, I'm gonna add butter over it and milk. Be careful, the caramel is really hot, and be careful when you add butter over. I'm adding the almonds now and mix in this caramel lots of flavors going on, but we're gonna do something else to increase the flavors. So I'm gonna pour this mixture in a baking tray on baking paper, and I'm gonna put this in the oven until at 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, until it's gonna we're gonna roast a bit the almonds, and that caramel will solidify once again. So keep an eye on the oven, and I want more color. So when it's looking like this, take it out and let it cool down, and after you can go with a knife and crush those pieces of almonds and delicious caramel into smaller pieces. I guess you can use even a food processor. Just put this mixture in and pulse it a few times, and it's gonna be good to use for the rest of the recipe. And now let's make the filling, and I'm gonna use 200 grams of whipping cream, unsweetened one, because I will use 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm gonna boil these under submerging water for about 2 hours. The longer you cook it, deeper the color of the caramel will be, and I use 2/3 of those caramelized almonds and 300 grams of cream cheese. I have here 2 containers, each 150 grams, 10 grams of gelatin granules, and 50 milliliters of water just to rehydrate the gelatin. So I'm showing here how I boiled that can of sweetened condensed milk and let it cool down, and here the gelatin, I'm covering it with water. I'm gonna put in the mixing bowl whipping cream. I'm opening the sweetened condensed milk now, and look how delicious this looks. So imagine the taste. This is dulce de leche, and this is how you can make it. I usually make this day ahead of when I need it for my cakes, and this way has time to cool down. I'm adding now cream cheese in the same bowl. So this is why I didn't use any sugar, because that condensed milk is sweet enough for this cake. Start mixing everything on low speed in the beginning and increase the speed after a minute or so, making sure that all ingredients are nicely combined. And I melted the gelatin in a microwave for 10 seconds, and I'm gonna take a few tablespoons of the filling and combine it with that gelatin just to make sure that it is tempered, and it's gonna make a nice thick filling. So now that I mix it, I can add it over the rest of the ingredients that are cold. Gelatin was warm because I had to melt it, and give this one more mix, and the filling is ready to be used. And I'm gonna add over the filling that we just made 2/3 of the caramelized almonds, because it's all about flavor. And for sure, these caramelized almonds have lots of flavor. Okay, let's assemble the cake. So I put in a plate one sponge cake, one slice. I'm gonna add over it half of the filling. Level it nicely with a spatula. Place the second slice of sponge cake, and keep in mind that around the cake I have the same metal frame that I use when I bake the sponge cake, that just to keep the cake in the same shape, because we'll need time in the fridge to set. I put over the rest of the filling now and level it. And sprinkle on top the rest of the caramelized almonds for a bit of crunch and for a lovely look. And I melted about 50 grams of chocolate, milk chocolate, and just drizzled over. And I'm gonna put the cake now in the fridge, and it's gonna stay there until tomorrow. And the day has come when I'm gonna reveal these. So I'm removing the metal frame and that plastic clear film around it. Careful. And it's gonna look and taste absolutely delicious. I'm always telling you this. You have to try this recipe. Lots of holidays are coming, and I'm sure your family and friends will be delighted to try a slice of this. It's ready to be served. Keep it in the fridge and enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm gonna see you here next time with another recipe. Until then, find reasons to smile. Bye.